Hi, thank you, Sam. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren, and I'm from Orlando, Florida. I also live in Key West. Little bit about me is I have a suite in Orlando, and as well as a service in the Keys in Florida as well as being a PRAVANA educator for the past 4 years now. I can't wait to get in with you guys. We know fall is coming, so I'm super excited to have been able to create these formulas for you. So I want to make sure that everybody has a pen and a paper to write these down and really get your phones out if you're on a computer, or get ready to start screenshotting so you can have a screenshot to reference the swatch. And then what I want you guys to do is be able to write down the formula. Sam's going to also put them in the chat for each and every one of you. So if I go too fast or you need clarification, that way they will be written in the chat as well. If you don't get a picture of the swatch as I'm showing them on the white piece of paper, go ahead and ask in the chat if I can bring that swatch back up, and then Sam will let me know. I can kind of see when they're popping up here what everybody is saying. So super excited. I saw California and Missouri. Thank you guys for tuning in. So fall, it's such a fun time. There's so many different shades that we can utilize behind the chair. And I think sometimes our blondes might get stuck on that one blonde all year round. So what I did today was not just doing our big reds that we normally see during fall, whether that's copper or more of our red tones. But we're seeing a lot of different kinds of shades in the blonding category as well, whether that has a little bit of that like copper hue to it, but it's still blonde, or having more of that rose gold tone. And how can we kind of transition shades throughout the year to keep our guests happy with their look, but feeling like they have change even if they're not okay with committing to something super drastic. So I've created all of these different shades using all of our different lines, whether that's our ChromaSilk Permanent Cream Hair Color, or whether that is our ChromaSilk Express Tones or Platinum Express Tones, or our HydraGloss, or our semi-permanents. So we can utilize a lot of them behind the chair in different ways. What I would like to see is if anybody can write in the chat, what line do you tend to use the most behind the chair? Do you use a lot of our semi-permanents mainly? Do you use our toners mainly? Are we utilizing a lot of our ChromaSilk Permanent Cream Hair Color for a lot of these fall transformations, or just behind the chair? What are we most comfortable with as a line behind the chair? So I'm going to let those kind of go in, and we're going to go into our first formula. Super excited to see what you guys use, and I hope that these formulas today can help you guys behind the chair in utilizing maybe a different line that you don't use as much with using PRAVANA. And this is really fun. So I encourage you guys to get inspired after today with seeing these shades and deciding, okay, I actually want to go into using some of these other and grab some swatches off of Amazon or wherever that may be. And I encourage you to write them down. So I am going to reference swatch numbers. And that's what I want you guys to do, writing them down. So swatch 1, so that way when you're going through your camera roll, you see swatch 1, and then you have that formula, that first one written. And I want you to reference that in the notes. So today, as I go through the swatches, I might say swatch 5 or swatch 10, just so Sam knows what formula to write in the chat. Okay, so let's get started. I'm super, super excited. So one of the fall trending shades is a velvet blonde. Okay, so this is permanent color. I see permanent color again. So here it is. So let's take a picture of her. Okay. I'm gonna kind of pull it up a little bit so you can see the different shade of it. And this is swatch 4. So a velvet blonde is a smooth, glossy beige tone with a little bit of that luxe dimension. Okay. And swatch number 4 is 22 grams of Express Tones Beige and 8 grams of Platinum Toner Gold. Okay, Express Tone Platinum Toner Gold. So we have 22 grams of the ChromaSilk Express Tones Beige and 8 grams of Express Tone Platinum Toners Gold. Okay, now our platinum toners and our express toners are mixed with 0 lift. So I want you guys to write this down. 1 part color, to 1.5 parts zero lift developer. And the zero lift developer looks like this. Okay. So it is a 30-gram formula. All of our formulas today will be 30 grams. So if it's 1 part color to 1.5 parts developer, we're going to have 30 grams of color in total and 45 grams of zero lift cream developer. So here it's a different kind of view on it because I'm definitely that stylist at heart. Looks a little different without the white, so I'll do it in both. So take pictures of both. I'm a lighting girly, okay? So that's our first formula. I really love this for somebody who maybe isn't ready for a full gold. It kind of gives me that tone of being a little bit more beigey, still kind of very bright. Now our express toners and our platinum toners, you can mix together. HydraGloss, we do not mix together with express tones or our platinum express tones, okay? Everybody's good to move on. Okay, so we love that velvety color, okay? We're gonna go on to this one right here, number 2, formula number 2. Okay, this gives me that cinnamon brunette. That's a hard color or a hard name. Cinnamon, everybody says it a little different. And it's a soft brunette with some spicy warmth to it. So I'm gonna pull that down and show you guys this way. You can kind of see a little bit more of that warmth. And this is HydraGloss, okay? So our HydraGloss, here are our blue boxes. These are HydraGloss, okay? Now, the other really great thing about these formulas is if you're using the PRAVANA ChromaSilk permanent cream hair color, you know your ratio. But let's say you're not really used to using HydraGloss or express tones. It'll tell you on the back of the box right there what that ratio is. So HydraGloss is 1:1. We're still mixing all of our demis or with zero lift cream developer. Put that puppy back there. Pull this back up here so you can see it. Okay, so we use HydraGloss. And this is 5 grams of 6NT, 9 grams of 6GC, and 16 grams of 7C. And that starting level there is about a 8-9. It's a little bit warmer. Okay, and that is 1 part color to 1 part developer. So 30 grams of color and 30 grams of zero lift cream developer. Okay, I love this one because it's a really great way to put a toner on somebody who's maybe a level 8. Really, really love this one. Totally going to use this behind the chair. Would even be very, very beautiful if you did a highlight on somebody with a level 3 to 4 base and incorporating this as like a highlight and toning with HydraGloss later. Stunning. Okay. Let's go on to another one. We're going to pull out number 3. Now these are utilizing our platinum toners as well. These are all of our platinum toners. I really like this tone because you have kind of that warmth of a little bit of that copper with a little bit more of that gold, but then it kind of gives me like that rose gold kind of feel. It gives me that like strawberry coppery color. And I'm going to pull it down here. Kind of a different look when you see it on the white paper versus kind of seeing it in the reflection. So this is number 3. Now this is 16 grams of platinum toners spice, okay? 11 grams of our Express Tones Platinum Toners blush, and then 3 grams of Platinum Toner Gold, okay? Now these can sit anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, normally 5 to 10. I have let them sit 15. I prefer to let them sit for 5 and 10. These I did let sit a little bit longer just to really make sure it has that tone in it. So you'll still see tone at 5 minutes. Me personally, for these shades, so we can see multiple or more pigment, I let it just sit a little bit longer to really have that show up look. Looks a little bit lighter and softer when you let it sit for the 5 minutes. So I encourage you, as you do these, maybe do a few swatches if you're not used to doing swatches or using the express tones or platinum toners. Do 4 of them and or 3 of them and let them sit 5, 10, and 15, and then rinse them in that increment, and then kind of look to see the difference. So that way behind the chair, you know what you prefer in certain situations. So this is the platinum toners. I really love this for like a blonde who's used to being like a very buttery blonde, but is totally okay with changing it for fall, but doesn't want to commit to anything permanent or super, super bright. So love that shade. All right, so we're gonna go into number 5. Super excited. Is everybody following along? Everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's getting their pictures. I can see you guys respond in the chat, so please, please, please respond. Okay, so this is a gorgeous shade. I really had a really great time with this. This is our HydraGloss line. We're gonna separate that a little bit. Okay, and I really love this because it really gives me that very like red copperish vibe. It actually really reminds me, if you're used to using our permanent shades, it really gives me, in the video it looks a little bit more reddish, but in person it's definitely more of like a reddish copperish vibe. Let's see if you can kind of see it there a little bit more. Actually, when I put my hair up, it looks very, very red here, but it is very much so you can see a little bit more of that copper tone within it. Okay. Now this is our HydraGloss as well. So I wanted to be able to give you guys some HydraGloss as well as our permanent. So that way, if you're not using HydraGloss, you can kind of see a little bit of the difference. In person, like I said, this one's a little bit more coppery. So this one is 13 grams of 7CR, 7 grams of 5R, and 10 grams of 7G. So you're gonna use 30 grams of HydraGloss and 30 grams of Zero Lift Cream Developer, okay? Because HydraGloss is a 1-to-1, and their express tones and platinum toners are a 1-to-1.5. Okay, so remember, HydraGloss is 1-to-1, so make sure you're writing that down with our HydraGloss formulas. HydraGloss is 1-to-1, and this was a HydraGloss formula. Very, very beautiful. I encourage you guys, I'm actually really excited to have these because I'm going to utilize these behind the chair with fall coming up. Be like, hey, do you like any of these shades? Like, we can totally incorporate these on a toner appointment, or, you know, like you have your grown out highlight as we do your root touch up today, we can go ahead and melt in that other color. All right, now let's move on to like a buttery blonde. Like, who doesn't love a big, very buttery blonde? So this one is swatch 14. Okay, so definitely giving very buttery. I don't know if I love the white paper. You can see they're very, very buttery. And these are applied to a level 10 swatch. Okay, so this one is our platinum toners, express tones for platinum toners. Now this one is 15 grams of platinum toner spice and 15 grams of platinum toner gold with 1 part color, so 30 grams of color, and 45 grams of Zero Lift Cream Developer. All right, so very, very buttery. So I really love this on somebody who maybe might be natural, like a natural blonde platinum, and we're okay like warming it out a little bit for fall, but having intentional warmth. So our platinum toners. All right. So let's go into a permanent formula. Okay, I really, really am excited about this because I really think it's a great way to utilize different parts of our permanent cream hair color. So this is swatch 11. Again, I kind of like it without. So swatch 11 is our PRAVANA ChromaSilk permanent cream hair color. So we're gonna do 1 part color to 1.5 parts 10 volume developer. Okay, so it's 8 grams of 8 NTL. 14 grams of 8.34 and 8 grams of 6.3 with 10 volume. So 30 grams of color to 45 grams of 10 volume cream developer. This really gives me that caramel kind of vibe. It's warm, but it's not super, super warm, but it just gives that really nice, it gives me like that buttery light brown kind of shade. Like super excited to tone with that in between somebody who might be like a level 5, 6, even like a 4. But I love this shade. All right, and that's with our PRAVANA permanent cream hair color. So see, as you can see, like just even just holding up the few that we've done so far, look at like how much we can do, right? With all of the different like lines. So beautiful there. All right, let's move in to a vivid shade. So I really wanted this to be like kind of like a cranberry color. I do think that it would look a little bit deeper doing it on a swatch that might be a little bit darker, so on like a level 8. But I'm really excited about this. It did come out a little, it gives me like in between this like cranberry vibe, but a little bit more on the pinkish end. It gives me very dragon fruit vibe, but I think this would be very beautiful in like a copper shade. Like if you did a copper base or did like a block placement, this would complement fall so well with the copper. This one is our Vivids. It's Formula 6. It's 8 grams of 8 grams of sangria, which is our deeper red in our semi-permanent line. So none of these are mixed with developer, and 22 grams of grape. So I wanted to use 2 of our newer Vivids that we've had for a little bit of time, but they're a little bit newer. Love this shade. Like I said, I would be really excited to see this. I might even re-swatch this on a swatch that might be a little bit darker, because I definitely think it would come out a little bit deeper in the way of being more of that cranberry tone. Now, if you don't know this pro tip, look on the front of your Vivid box. It will actually tell you the level of the shade or the level of hair that you're supposed to apply the Vivid to. It'll tell you, and the little number is circled on that box. So this one is super beautiful. Okay. And then let's move on. So I have another Vivid that I think is really stunning that I did. I wanted to do something a little bit different and outside of the box with fall. And I love this shade. Okay, and this is our semi-permanents, our Vivids. So these are not mixed with developers. I think this is so cute for somebody who's like a little bit more okay being bold, like not afraid to give up their blonde, but just like for a 'tis the season kind of moment. This one is our Vivid, so not mixed with any developer, okay, just straight out of the box, okay? And this one is 24 grams of sunstone and 6 grams of yellow, okay? So this one, I'm actually gonna post a video after today's class, just saying, hey, I really enjoyed it doing this class. And I actually have me swatching this one on that video, so you can see like the difference of vibrancy in that video versus what it actually came out as like in the bowl. So sometimes I think it's really fun to like do a salon activity or do like an individual activity where you order swatches and kind of mix some things up while writing those formulas down. So that way, sorry, I said that really fast. That way you can actually have realistic other swatches that aren't just, hey, I'm using the box of sunstone. But I really like this because it gives me that like lighter than Daphne and Scooby-Doo, but definitely like vibrant, more vibrant than like an express tone. So I would really love to see that on a blonde, or like a copper with a highlight, and you put that in between. But that is our Vivid, so straight out of the box. The other place that you can see, I get more permanent formulas. Yeah, I have a few more permanent that we're gonna get to. I just tried to go in order so that way we would have some of that. I saw a question about the box. I don't think I pulled a Vivid box, but I can do one better. So literally on the front of the box, like when you go and grab them, it'll say grape. So you'll see it. I'm so sorry to grab it Vivid. So normally you'll see the box here, and then there will be the numbers underneath it, and that number will have a white number attached to it. But what I'll do is I'll show you this too. So sorry that I didn't grab a Vivid box. But if you have a swatch book, you see where the number right here is like circled. That's where it'll tell you to lift to. You know, there have been times where, you know, red I can get on maybe a shade a little bit darker. Just you have to remember what you're putting it on canvas wise or what it's going to show up as. Just like I said, that one that I wanted to be a little bit, you're welcome, more cranberry. Like that was good. That's also one of the ones that I swatched in the video that you guys will see. And when I saw it out, I was like, huh, like I think it's such a beautiful shade. It would look great in a copper. But for me personally, I thought it was going to be a little bit deeper, but again, remember the swatches that you're swatching on. So that is one thing. Okay, let's get into these permanent formulas. I know we only have so much time today. So I want to make sure we have everything, but I saw somebody ask for a little bit more of a permanent formula. Let's go into this one. I really, really love this one. Again, these are on level 10 swatches because that's what I had on hand. So remember, they might look a little bit different on hair depending on what you're lifting to or what your starting level is at. So, Sam, we're going to go to swatch 9. This is our permanent cream hair color. Sorry, I went through all the other ones first and you were waiting for these, but here's number 9. So number 9 is 12 grams of 7.5. 12 grams of 8.7 and 6 grams of poisonberry. Now, I don't know if you're using the permanent cream hair color more often. Have you, I know that somebody had asked that question, so I'm waiting for a little response there, but have you utilized our Vivid's Everlasting permanent cream hair color to mix in with your other permanent cream hair color? And if you're not familiar with those, what poisonberry is, it is a permanent Vivid. Okay, so it has to be mixed with developer. So I really wanted to, again, this is on a level 10 swatch, so it would be a little bit deeper on a swatch that's more of like a level 7, 8. But I really, really love the shade 7.5, 8.7, and Poisonberry. It's so crazy how, and remember, it is 1 part 30 grams of color to 45 grams of 10 volume cream developer. So the violet one and the red one, I love adding the red one into my dull reds on the bottom. I'll add that in the formula just to brighten her up without putting like a level in it. I'll just do Scarlet Red Straight with 10 volume when I'm doing a base bump with like 6.66 and 20 volume. But I'm going off topic. So we can talk about formulas all day, but let's get some more of these in because they're just stunning. Okay, so everybody's got that one. I'll hold that up to the white paper. I think it makes it look darker with the white paper personally. Okay. Let's go into another one. So we'll go formula 10. This one was applied to a very, very dark color. This one we might do on a piece of paper. In person, this one looks a little bit more violet. Okay. You can kind of see more of that warmth there. Okay, now this is 18 grams of 4.52. You can kind of see more of that. There you go. With my hair up to it, it kind of looks a little, you can kind of see that shade a little bit better. Okay, so 18 grams of 4.52 and 12 grams of 6.35 with 10 volume, 1 part 30 grams of color and 45 grams of 10 volume. So you can see it has that a little bit of that violet hue, and that's from that 4.52. And that 6.35 is a warmer shade, so that has that warmth there as well. Alrighty, so more permanent shades. We have this one here. I think this one is actually very, very stunning. It gives me more of that in between kind of like a cinnamony tone. It gives me like that next shade of that buttery blonde, but starting to head a little bit more into that darker level. Now this is swatch 13. Yeah, 13. And this is 8 grams of 6 NTL, 10 grams of 6.35, and 12 grams of 8.3. So 8 grams of 6 NTL, 10 grams of 6.35, and 12 grams of 8.3, 30 grams of color, 1 part color to 1.5 parts developer, and we used 10 volume for that. And you process for 30 minutes. And with our other HydraGloss, we're processing HydraGloss for 20 minutes. And we're processing our express tones and platinum toners anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on desired result. Now, one thing about this shade that I really, really love and using our NTLs, I know that you saw that we used 8 NTL in one of our other formulas, and this one is our 6 NTL that I used in this one. Our NTLs are to be utilized for they're already pre-pigmented low lights. So I really chose to utilize those because they have a lot of that pre-pigment in them. So that way, if you're putting them on somebody who's blonde as like a low light that's a little bit warmer, you have that pre-pigment from it while still adding that other warmth elements that I'm adding in to kind of give it that shade that I want it to have. But having that NTL really helps with that pre-pigment as well. So that's a permanent shade, which I would love to put this one up to this one. So look at that level difference. So this was our one that we had earlier with permanent, and this is also another permanent shade. So this is the one we just did, and then this is the one we did earlier, which was 8 NTL, 834, and 6.3. And this one was 6 NTL, 635, and 8.3. So these are both our permanent cream hair color, but look at the difference of just like utilizing different shades. It's crazy what we can do when creating our own shades behind the chair. Alrighty, so I also have swatch 15. This is also a permanent. Now this one was used with 20 volume. It was a starting level of 10 volume. Why did you use 20? It was somebody's hair I was doing and I loved the shade. So I was like, why not share this with all of you guys? So here this is, beautiful, beautiful copper shade. And this one is 18 grams of 7.43 and 12 grams of 6.35 with 20 volume. So 1 part color to 1.5 parts developer. So 30 grams of color to 45 grams of 10 volume cream developer and or 20 volume cream developer. And you can utilize this with 10 volume depending on what your starting level is. Just at the time that I was mixing this, I was using 20 volume. So remember with that, I think I saw a question. Why is this certain? Is there any way you could clarify your question, Naomi? All right, so there is that one. All right, let's move on to another.
Can you hear me? I was just you showed two blondes next to each other, and it appeared that the one that when you said the formula is the one that was primarily sixes that you used in the formula looked a lot
Was it
lighter.
these two?
Yeah, it was those two.
Okay, so they're both applied to a level 10 swatch.
Right.
And then this level, or this one right here, is 8 grams of 8 NTL. This one has 14 grams of 8.34 and it has 8 grams of 6.3. And then this one, it does have a little bit more 6 NTL. I would say this one is probably a little bit deeper because of that has 6.3 and then this one has 8.3. So because this one has the 6.3 in it, 6.3 is pretty deep on the swatch. Have you ever seen 6.3?
If you tell me what the letters are, I may know. I don't do the points.
6.3 is gold.
Oh, just G.
It's straight G. So that one has 8 grams. It does have 14 grams of the 8.34.
What's the 3/4? Is that the GK or something like that?
It's gold copper.
Right.
Right. So 0.3 is the gold and then the 4 is the copper. So it's 70% of the gold and then 30% of the copper in that formula with the 8 NTL. It does have more 8.34 in it, but because it has the 8 grams of the 6.3, it's a little bit deeper. But what I would say is, what was that?
What's 3/4?
3/4, it's copper gold or gold copper. 0.3 is gold and 0.4 is copper. So
gotcha.
8.34, correct. Correct. So it's and then it has the 8 NTL in it, which is the pre-pigmented low light. So you just have to think the tonality might look a little bit darker, but really side by side, this does look a little bit of a shade, little bit lighter, like level wise, but I would really think that this is like a half a level lighter. I just think you have a different tonality in this that appears darker. But like in person, as I'm looking at these, they're pretty close level wise.
I guess what I'm wondering is why. Like,
Why?
what? Why? If the G, if you're saying that that one's primarily
Because
G,
this one has copper in it. This one doesn't.
what does that one have in it? Remind me the one that appears lighter.
This one is 8 grams of 6 NTL, 10 grams of 6.35, and 12 grams of 8.3. So with the 6 and the 8, it really is creating a 7,
Yeah.
not a full 6. I think when you hear the 6, you're thinking, okay, it's supposed to look darker. But if you look at it, it's 18 grams of really of a 6 and 12 grams of 8. So it's really creating a 7. I do think this could probably make a little bit more sense if we could have done them on a little bit of a darker swatch. I think they would have appeared a little bit differently. So that's something that I would encourage you to try. Is maybe pick up a level, I would say a 7, 8. I would buy an 8 swatch and try them and see if you see the same thing. Like I said, in person, it's hard sometimes on camera. Let's see if I hold them up. I don't want to
That's
move.
helpful. That spread.
Having that copper in it though really does deepen it a little bit. Let me see if I can pull out the swatch for you really fast. That's what's nice about having these here. Okay, this is actually a really good way to, I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better. So this is an 8.34 on the swatch, okay? You see how it almost looks a little bit darker? Right here. I can't hear her anymore. Is Naomi still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just listening. I'm
Do you
in
see
a
that?
loud
Do
space.
you see how it's a little bit darker though, even though it's an 8? Right
I
here.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. It looks darker than an 8.
So I think with having that 4 in it, it deepens it a little bit to making it appear a little bit darker. So that's why that swatch, oh, not that one, is looking a little bit darker. It's from that 3-4.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think Dudley wants to ask a question.
Go
I
ahead.
just noticed.
So I've just had a couple of questions because recently I've used like a 6.6 mixed with the Vivid's Everlasting, the scarlet one, with
Okay.
like a little chocolate chip of the violet. And when I use that with 20 developer on like a level 6 hair, her roots looked perfect, very similar to like the formula that I thought I was creating, but then the ends looked very dark, like almost black. And I've just had a couple like problems with the reds and for themes that sometimes like they look perfect and then sometimes like if I put any hint of like violet or like a mahogany, like the 0.5 into my formulas, they just get so dark. And I'm wondering how can I still have the tonality of like violets or mahoganies in my warm formulas without it dropping down the levels so that I
Okay.
keep it.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay. So first and foremost, so if her whole head, you're saying the entire head is a level 6.
Oh, sorry, I'm still on mute. Sorry. Yeah, no, her roots were natural level 6. Her ends I did have to use a sorry. I did have to use a color remover to bring it back up to a 6, but yes, the overall canvas was a level 6.
Okay, so we used a color remover the same day.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why. on that case scenario. So when you're did you formulate, depending on the, I don't know what color remover you use, but we don't have one in PRAVANA, but when formulating a color remover, you normally need to formulate like 3 to 4 shades lighter, even if that's not the level that you're trying to do, because when when the color remover works, essentially that color remover, you have to formulate it 4 shades lighter in order for it not to go that dark. In the case of using a color remover. If you're not using a color remover, something that I do want to bring to light in creating these formulas, right? I'm doing these on level 10 swatches. When you guys are using the permanent Vivid's Everlasting shades, remember when you are, let's say you're using 20 volume, right, on somebody's hair and their hair is brown, right? But we're trying to like get it to have that vibrancy, right, of that blonde. Yes, they're a great way to refresh a look, add into formulas depending if we're canceling things or trying to enhance things. In your case, that's what we're doing here. But we also have to remember when we're shifting, what is the underlying pigment that we're exposing, and is that vivid that we're using going to enhance or neutralize? So that's something that I want you to think about with that violet, right? If it's not a pre-lifted hair, which we do know that we can use the Vivid's Everlasting without being pre-lifted, but you also have to remember if we're trying to shift somebody with a 20 or 30 volume on a certain part of the hair, we have more heat on scalp than we do down here as well, right? So like if we're talking about a case without a color remover, we also have to remember that if we're exposing with 20 and 30 volume, some kind of yellow or orange, that violet rain might cancel that instead of actually showing up. So it might appear more brown than actually looking violet. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I guess
Okay.
my next question with that is like, so for a formula like that where I'm trying to get a brighter red, you would suggest using a different route for the root formula and through the end formula, just leaving out the purple. Would you suggest then using, instead of the purple formula, more of the mahogany?
So it depends. I think it will all boil down to your consultation with the client of what they see. Okay, because a lot of times that I've experienced this, sometimes when people are saying mahogany, they mean more red violet versus violet red. Or and then a lot of times when they say mahogany, they mean just straight red. So I think having that clarification there. A lot of times behind the chair, I do utilize 2 separate formulas. Because of you have heat here and I can put something a little bit stronger on the ends, but I don't necessarily want to do that at the base because I don't want a hot root situation, right? Like I want it to blend. So I don't want to go off topic, but I'll give you something really fast as we kind of go in, just because the red is kind of pertaining to the fall formulas. But like on base, if you have somebody who's a level 6 all over, let's say they have, or their base, like let's say it's coming in as such as mine here. Mine's actually a great example. And let's say all of this is like old red, right? Like it's old red. So on the base, I might do something like 6.66 with 7.5 with 20 volume, because yes, I do want deposit, but I kind of want a little bit of shift in order for that red to be bright. Normally you could do 6.66 with 6.5, but I tend to do with mahoganies, just depending on the brightness level of the red. Sometimes I will drop that red in the mahogany because the mahogany does have a little bit more of that red to violet shade in it. If you are wanting something that has more of a violet hue, I would recommend using the 0.7s. Really utilizing more of that like push of violet. And then if you wanted to add a little bit of violet rain in there, you could. But then on the ends, I would probably do something like scarlet red with 10 volume. Just straight to positive red on all of this. But I wouldn't necessarily need to put scarlet red in my base tone because I'm really not trying to have a hot root situation there. So it really depends on, I think, breaking down what person you're looking at and what their hair looks like, and not feeling the need to only use one formula. Sometimes it's okay to use 2 separate formulas to get to the end result that you need. Sometimes, depending on the case, if there's old color here and we're trying to be red and we want to shift base, yes, we could shift base, but we're not doing anything to here and we know the permanent color or doing a color remover, it's not creating that raw lift. And if we are using color remover, we have to remember you have to really make sure to go back to that manufacturer instructions. I can't speak on that due to me not us here at PRAVANA, we do not have a color extractor. But do remember that just break down what you're looking at and how can I address it. And maybe it's okay to do two separate formulas. Or if you have a red client like that you're struggling through, my recommendation is going in to do some kind of highlight to break up that, and maybe doing a HydraGloss tone over the whole thing and utilizing one of the formulas. Actually, we talked about it today, depending on what kind of red you're trying to achieve, or you could even overlay it with a vivid as well. All right. Does that answer your question? Does that kind of give you some guidance there?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to keep going. So we have a few more formulas here that I can give you. I did extras because I just got so carried away. They're so much fun. All right, so let's go into Formula 8. Now, again, these are on level 10 swatches. So they are going to look a little different on a level 7 to 8. This one right here. Okay, we see that one. This is our Vivid, so mixed with no developer. Okay, so straight out of the tube, Formula 8, it's 4 grams of wild orchid, 13 grams of orange, and 23 grams of clear dilute. Okay. Very, very beautiful. Again, like I think I might even re-swatch all of these and put these on a 7/8, so we have them as a 10 and a 7/8. It's so, so beautiful. Straight out of the tube, PRAVANA Vivids. Straight direct dye. So these, you really want to make sure you're pre-lifted to the levels that will say on the front of the box to create your shade. All right, and now we're going to go to swatch 12. This is another permanent. I know we were talking about permanent shades. And this is Formula 12, Sam. So this is 20 grams of 6.35 and 10 grams of 6.6, equaling 30 grams of PRAVANA ChromaSilk cream hair color. Okay, and 45 grams of 10 volume. And we process permanent cream hair color for 30 minutes. Okay, and there's that shade. Beautiful. So 20 grams of 6.35 and 10 grams of 6.6. So one thing that I want to do with having these swatches, we've gone through a lot of them very quickly. We're going to kind of put some of them next to each other and decide how we can utilize some of these formulas. We went through a lot of formulas. I'm so excited. Glad I did some extras. So let's say you have somebody with our brunettes. Oh, last formula was 20 grams of 6.35, 10 grams of 6.6, 10 volume cream developer. So 45 grams of cream developer and 30 grams of color in total. Just this one. And that's cream. Okay. So the really cool thing about this is you can really like utilize these together, right? So let me show you these. Let's get up to the camera. So you could do a brown base, something that's slightly warmer. It has a little bit of that violet-y hue to it. And we could pair it with the swatch that I just gave you. Beautiful. So you could even do a foil without even using any lightener. You could literally straight use a chocolatey, warmer, violet-y tone within it and then have that copper as that highlight in between. Beautiful together. Let's see, we had Formula 9, which was 7.5, 12 grams of 7.5, 12 grams of 8.7, and 6 grams of Poisonberry permanent cream hair color. So 1 part 30 grams of permanent cream hair color to 45 grams of 10 volume. Okay, and then we could put that together with our Formula 11, our 8 grams of 8 NTL, 14 grams of 8.34, and 8 grams of 6.3. And these are both permanent shades. So remember, with permanent shades, it is 30-minute processing time, okay? And you can do this at the same time. You can do your one foil as your low light and your one as a highlight, color. I just saw a question on the floor. Can you use any of the vivid semi? Can you use any of, sorry, I'm trying to read sideways, so just bear with me here.
Lauren, the question is, can you use any of the vivids on gray hair before filling or using bleach to give a positive negative charge? So it's basically asking, do you need to do the pre-lightening step before using vivids on gray hair?
Yes, so we do, and I really appreciate the positive and negative charge in your question. But remember, with gray hair is very, very coarse, right? So that cuticle is super, super sealed. So in order for that vivid to really sit on top of it and give that vibrancy true to tone, you do need to pre-lighten the hair in order to open that cuticle up. That way the color fully sits on top of the hair and really gives that true to tone. So yes, you do want to pre-lift it. And with gray hair, remember, you're not going to be there probably that long with the pre-lifting. If that means you're doing maybe a shampoo cap at the bowl and pre-lifting that way, however you need to. But yes, you do want to pre-lift prior to using your Vivids semi-permanent. You're very welcome. I will say, you know what, we're gonna take, I know we're like putting them together. I'm so happy I made extra but we have a little more time, so I want to give you guys as much information as I possibly can. On that note of her asking that question, I want to give you guys a fun, different way out of the box that you're probably not thinking of how I can use these fall formulas. Of course, we're here for fall formulas. We want to utilize these behind the chair in creating things more fall for our clients. But what happens when we have somebody who comes in with mint hair and they want to be fall? Well, girl, we all know we be struggling with getting that mint tone out, whether that's from chlorine or whether that's from a blue that's faded or a teal that's faded. How do I get that out? Two things that I love to do is actually neutralize with color. A lot of people tend to go grab lightener and they're like, oh, I gotta lighten this out. I gotta lighten this out. But you don't have to. Sometimes it's color theory, right? Let's take it back to our color chart that I know Sam also put in our little chat there. But swatch number 3, I'm just going to go to that one in particularly with our express tones. Now we can also utilize this with vivids, but we're just going to go with express tones and our platinum toners for a minute. So if we're trying to neutralize mint, right? Green. What neutralizes green? Red. Okay, so if we are having a lighter form of that color, how can we neutralize mint? Pink, right? Pink is a lighter form, or mint is a lighter form of green, and pink is a lighter form of red. So our swatch 3 that we made, it is a little bit more orangey, but you can actually add a little bit more of platinum blush or use platinum blush straight out of the tube, right? So 1 part platinum blush to 1.5 parts Zero Lift, and sit at the bowl and watch that green kind of diminish. Now, something that I do want to tell you, if you're trying to achieve something like this, if we are neutralizing with platinum toners, just remember sometimes you might just want to go in with a second tone and do maybe Formula 3 that we did today, which was 16 grams of platinum spice, 11 grams of platinum blush, and 3 grams of platinum gold. And these are from our express tones for up to 15 minutes. Normally, the recommended time, most people tend to use them 5 to 10, but they are 5 to 15 depending on what your end result you're looking for is. But you can also utilize these. And when I say you can utilize Vivids, you can use clear dilute with maybe our pink shade and kind of soften it out, or clear pastel to kind of make it a little bit softer so it isn't as pink, and it will help you actually neutralize your shades. And then from there, if you want to go in and add an express tone on top or do an overlay of permanent color, you can, but you can also utilize our fall colors for neutralization as well, depending on what we're trying to neutralize behind the chair as trends come and go. So please, like, I encourage you guys to swatch these out at home. please, 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 please refer to my Instagram. I will go ahead and Sam can put it in the chat. I'll be posting that video of just like a few of the applications of a few of these shades. I'll go ahead and put those formulas in the caption, so then that way you guys know which ones to refer to of looking at that processing video, because the cool thing about that is, remember, they're on level 10, so they're gonna look a little bit different. And I think actually seeing the formula being applied, you might be able to reference, oh, you know what, she's right, it might be a little bit darker. But again, level 10 swatches. So I wanted to ask all of you guys in the comments down below, what was your favorite formula? What are you most excited to utilize behind the chair? I am so excited for being here today with all of you and sharing these fall formulas. I know for me, I'm super, super excited with getting to utilize these, whether that's HydraGloss or Express Tones or Platinum Toners or the Permanent Cream Hair Color, and utilizing them together. Thank you guys so, so much for coming. If you guys have any questions, please, please, please reach out. You can always call 1-800-PRAVANA. Somebody is always there to help you. You can message me as well at creationsbylauren_ on Instagram. More than happy to help you. If you guys create looks with these formulas, please tag me. Please reach out and send me the picture. I would love to see what all of you have created. Another thing with PRAVANA, I want to make sure all of you guys are signed up for PRAVANA Perks. So if you head over to PRAVANAperks.com and sign up, you can also add your 2 distributors that you utilize the most. So that way at the end of each quarter, all of your points through PRAVANA of what you've purchased will add onto that account. It's really, really cool. Even as a stylist, just getting on there and seeing all my points, and you can get a swatch book in that once you've accumulated enough points and order a swatch book through PRAVANA Perks. So that's something that I hear a lot in classes is, how do I get a swatch book? How do I get an updated swatch book? And you can do that with PRAVANA Perks. So PRAVANAperks.com, head over to there. Make sure you're signed up for that. It is a great tool as a stylist. And if you guys have any questions, please reach out. It was so amazing to be here with all of you guys today. And I can't wait to see what you guys do behind the chair. And I also saw a little comment there. This will be sent to you later. It was so nice meeting all of you. Have a great rest of your day, and make sure to tune in on Mondays. We have 2 of our other classes coming up on Mondays. So make sure to go over and sign up for those. The links, Sam, can you put the links? Where can they find those links for those 2 other classes that are coming up on Mondays?
So the classes are today. They are on our link, the same one that you used to register for this class.
Wonderful. So everybody go ahead and register for those other classes too on Mondays. And I believe we have Melody Larissa coming up for our next class, and she is an amazing artist and she always has fun new things. So totally tune in next Monday and she will be that. Can I get the link? I did not sign up. Sam. You're so welcome. I'm so excited to see what you guys create with all of these formulas.
If you go to our website, you are able to sign up for any of the classes that we have on there. So just go to pravana.com. Thank you all.